Chairman. Bill will talk for, give a brief introduction and then open the floor to questions. Here's what I'm going to do since we're live streaming. I think I will just pass this mic around. So if you have a question, just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic over. So Bill O'Brien, if you want to get things started.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you
Appreciate
again.
it. Thank you very much for having me here today, Paul. It's my pleasure to be here. You know, I just wanted to start off with a couple, some things I'd like to talk about, and then obviously answer questions from the group. Number one is, a lot of people have asked me about the foundation of the program. What is my vision for the program? And I can tell you without a doubt what I've said to many, many people over the course of the last three months is that the foundation of the program will always be built on academics, football, respect, and integrity. When speaking about academics, what I've tried to do initially here is obviously stay on top of our players' academics. We have a great academic staff here. We have so many things to choose from at this great university, but at the same time, I've also tried to reach out to the faculty here. And I've invited faculty members to practice and brought them over, and I've promised some of them to be guest coaches, and I haven't fulfilled that promise totally, so when we bring some of them back, we'll actually let them coach some football. But I've done some things like that to make sure that the university knows that we are a part of a special university here, and that we're very, very mindful of the fact that our players are here because it's a great school where they can get a great education and a great degree. Football will always obviously be something that's very, very important to me here, obviously, and when we talk about football here, we always talk about teamwork. Teamwork will be always something that we insist that our players understand, that we play as one unit, we play as one team, and no player will ever be bigger than the team, no coach will ever be bigger than the team. The team is what will lead us to victories, that type of idea and that type of theme. Respect, we start with our players. We talk about respect for each other in the locker room. We talk about respect among the coaching staff. We talk about respect with our players as it relates to our coaching staff. And then we talk about respect in the community, how we carry ourselves in the community, what we do in the community to reach out to people and get involved with different charity organizations and things of that nature. And so we talk to our players about that. We haven't totally done a lot of that yet because I've just only been on the job for a few months, and we're in spring practice, but as we go forward, we will be more involved in the community going forward. What we talk about with integrity is, again, with our players and our coaching staff, that we understand the ideals of Penn State, that it is a great institution where you can get a great degree, and that we as players, we as coaches have to understand the mission of the university, and the mission of the university is that, again, the athletic program is a part of the university, and the football program, albeit a very big part of the athletic program, again, it's a part of the athletic program, which again is a part of the overall university. And so we talk about how we carry ourselves out in public. We talk about telling the truth. When somebody messes up, a player, a coach, we talk about making sure that honesty is the best policy, and that's the best way to ensure the integrity of your program. As it relates to the coaching staff, really thrilled with the coaching staff we've been able to put together here. It's a unique blend on this coaching staff of some younger coaches, some veteran coaches, some coaches that have worked with me in the past, some coaches that haven't worked with me in the past, but coaches that believe in education. They've coached at educational institutions. They understand the mission of Penn State. Many of these men that I've hired are family men. In fact, you come to practice, you can see that a lot of our kids are at practice and our wives come to practice, because if we're going to preach being a family, then we have to actually follow through on that. And so we're doing that. So I'm thrilled with the coaching staff. We're working well together right now. A lot of it is we're getting to know each other, how we practice, because again, many of these guys haven't coached with me in at the very least 5 years. I coached at New England and didn't bring anybody from New England to Penn State. So a lot of these guys, even the ones that have coached with me in the past, haven't coached in 5 years. And obviously, I learned quite a bit at New England. So we practice at a very high tempo. We watch the film all together as a full staff, things like that. So I think guys are getting used to that and how we coach and what I expect. And these guys are doing a heck of a job to this point. The players, again, when I talk to the players, and I do want to make sure that everybody understands, number one, I've been very, very impressed with the players here at Penn State. These are kids that want to be coached, that want to be good, that want to get a good degree. Now, does that mean that we have 110 angels on this football team? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you, though, is I've been very impressed with how they practice, how they've caught on to our tempo of practice, their intelligence, and how they carry themselves in the football building and outside the football building to this point. But what I talk to them about is I have a sign on the door when they walk in, and many of you may have seen this sign when they come in from the player parking lot where they park in the back near the weight room. Number one is I talk to them about knowing their role. And it's up to us as coaches to explain their role to them. And some of those roles are being figured out right now because we're going through spring practice and we're trying to figure out where some of these guys fit. And we're getting there. But once spring practice is over and we go into the summertime to where these guys are training for preseason camp and the season, we expect them to know their roles at that point. And we've got to do a good job as a coaching staff of explaining that role to them. Or multiple roles if the young man has a multiple role. We talked to these guys about working hard. We talked about, about putting in extra time. Especially offense, defense, special teams, everything's new. It's a new offensive system, it's a new defensive system, it's a new special teams system. So we know there's demands on their time academically, so we talk to them about budgeting their time and putting aside some time for football where they can study football on their own, and that's all a part of working hard. And we start with that, and then we obviously preach working hard as it relates to schoolwork. We talk to these guys all the time about being attentive, whether it's in class or it's in the football meeting. We want them to take notes, we want them to listen, we want them to understand what it means to be attentive and to stay awake. And understand that everything that's being said to them in class or in the football building in a meeting is very, very important. We always want them to understand individually that they should always put the team first. They should always put the team first. The team comes first. So whenever whether it's the example of asking someone to move a position or asking somebody to give better effort or whatever it may be, communicating better on the field, it's always in the name of putting the team first. And we'll always preach that because, as I said at the beginning, football is about teamwork. As it relates to recruiting, I'm a firm believer that the core of our recruiting classes have to come from a 5 to 6 hour driving distance where parents can drive, guardians can drive, relatives can drive to come watch these guys play. So obviously Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Baltimore, D.C., Virginia, Ohio, New York, New England, and we get into the Carolinas a bit. That's where the core of our roster will come from, starting with Pennsylvania. We've got to do a great job of recruiting Pennsylvania, the best student athletes in Pennsylvania, and we've got every coach on the staff has a part of Pennsylvania as a recruiting area. Then we talk to as a staff, we talked amongst ourselves, and we have guys like Ted Roof, myself, Mac McWhorter, guys on the staff, Charles London, that are either from Georgia or wherever they've been. They've recruited Georgia, Florida. So we've gone down to Georgia and Florida, and because of our connections down there, and also we explained to the student athlete right away. Obviously, we're looking for top-notch student athletes. But at the same time, we explain to them that it's not the easiest place to get to from a distance. So we want to make sure that they understand that right away, that there's a few connecting flights to be able to get into State College, or it's a long drive. And so that eliminates some prospects. But at the same time, we feel like we can get a few players each year from those two states. And then nationally, it'll always be about connections or just a really top-notch student athlete. Like, for instance, a great quarterback that's a valedictorian of his class, that is an excellent quarterback and has an interest in Penn State. We would never turn down recruiting somebody like that. What I've found in recruiting is that when you get these guys on campus, that to me is half the battle, maybe more than half the battle, because it's such a beautiful place with great facilities, great community, great college town, so many impressive people here on campus to meet, in addition to our staff, obviously our faculty, our athletic administration, our university administration. So what I preach to our staff is that we really want to try to get our prospects on campus. People have asked me how the reception has been in the community or with Penn Staters, and I've always said that the reception has been fantastic to this point. You know, it's been very positive. People have been very welcoming to me and my family and our staff, and it's been great. But again, we haven't played a game yet, so I always say that we'll see how receptive they are in a year. I understand that. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about today was the role of, how I see the role of the media in our program. And you know, what I've tried to do early on here is to open up our program, to let the media come in so that the outside world, outside of State College or even in State College, can see, number one, the type of players that we have here, which are great kids, how hard they work, our facilities, our coaching staff, and just, again, allow the media to come in and do the best I can to meet you halfway on a positive relationship as we go forward here. And what you'll find from me is that you know, what you see is what you get, and so hopefully our relationship will stay that way and be open and honest, and we'll have good communication. And just the last thing I just want to talk about again is, I kind of talked about this in the beginning, but in the 3 months that I've been here, you know, when I first came to State College, that was the first time I'd ever been here, and never seen the university before. Obviously, followed Penn State football since I was a kid, wanted to coach since I was a little kid. So Penn State was obviously the Eastern school, you know, in Massachusetts, especially before Doug Flutie and Boston College. You know, Penn State was the only school that was on TV every Saturday. So had followed Penn State for many, many years, but never had been here. My brother was here in 1983 with my parents when Brown played Penn State, but I didn't come because I was playing junior high football that day. But being the first time when I came up, and now being 3 months here or thereabouts, you can see every day that this is a very, very special place. A place that has a lot to offer academically, a place that has a lot to offer football-wise, and a great student body, the biggest alumni network in the country, over, you know, close to 600,000 active alums. One of the things that's really stood out to me here is the student body and the support of the student body for the football program, which in a lot of places you don't get that, but here it's probably the best I've ever seen. So it's an exciting time for Penn State football. It's a new era of Penn State football, and I'm extremely proud to be the head football coach here, proud to be associated with this university, and obviously can't wait to keep going with spring practice, get into the summer, start training camp, and get going for the season. So with that, open it up to any questions.
Hi, Coach. Ron Fritz from the Baltimore Sun.
Hey, Ron.
And I do appreciate the openness the day after you beat the Ravens. You talked with one of my reporters about Penn State, and you didn't rub it in.
It's a tough game. We were lucky to win,
But,
rubbing anything in.
you know, with all the warm and fuzziness, how long do you think that's going to last? Because we've seen it happen where programs get opened up, but as soon as something happens, media access gets shut down.
Again, it's just something that I take day to day. And again, I would feel that the media meet me halfway on some things, and obviously, I've reached out to the media, and you know, to this point, it's worked out well. And just, I think it's about open communication, and you know, I don't see why it can't continue. I'm not a genie. I can't predict the future. But to this point, I think it's been a positive relationship.
And kind of a follow-up,
Sure.
how about, what are your thoughts on social media and your players using Twitter, Facebook? and-
Yeah, that's new to me. It is, it's new to me, even though, you know, when I graduated college in '92, and that's right when the internet started to get big at, you know, and so it's a little bit new for me, and obviously having been in pro football for 5 years, there was no Twitter or Facebook allowed at the New England Patriots, obviously, so it's new, but I do understand the use of it. I think that our players have to be very smart with it. You know, it's something that once you tweet something, it's out there for everyone to see, so they have to understand that you know, it's their reputation. You know, we don't monitor it or anything like that. We just make sure that we talk to them about what it means and what it means to put a picture up on Facebook or tweet something that everyone can see. So, and in recruiting, it's definitely a tool, you know, or tools, you know, Facebook, Twitter. You know, it's amazing with the NCAA. You know, I have a lot of respect for the NCAA, but at the same time, we're not allowed to text, but we can Facebook and tweet and whatever we can do. I'm not sure I understand that because it all comes on their cell phones, but maybe I'll ask that when we have an NCAA meeting again. But no, I understand it, and I know it's something that is definitely necessary.